I think as a group, just have to really believe more how good we are. And that, I kind of, talk about running, kind of wrestling fearless. And everyone's like, oh, that guy's dangerous, and he's good here, and he's good there. Well, we're really good in positions, too. So, I think you got to put yourself in those positions that you're really good and try to get back there, and you got to work harder to get to them. And I think in the matches that we did, we had a lot more success, than we did in some others. But other than that, it was great to be back. It's not the West Gym, it's McLeod, but we're back in Cedar Falls wrestling in front of our home fans. I think we had almost every single guy at least one match. And, as I said, talked a lot yesterday. Then coming back off that break, Pat did a great job. And just kind of and I said the mat return, just kind of the emphasis though, and we've put some emphasis on that position. And then to see him put a guy down real hard, it just sends a message to guys. And just, I think it sends a message to everyone. I think, our team, we got a dang good team. And we got to really, truly believe that. So there's a certain way you compete when you truly believe, and when you're not certain, you kind of hold back. And, we had some guys that didn't hold back. And I kind of look at a couple guys back to back, and, I think that rubs off. I know it rubs off. So how Runyon competed, I think that rubs off on the next guy coming up. The next guy's like, well, he went out there and did that. I'm going to go out there and do that too. And let's see what happens. So overall, was happy with the fight and effort. I got to look back through some of, and you could call them extra matches, but I guess we don't know what to call them, but they're opportunities for these guys to compete. Some of these guys might only get a handful of opportunities this year, and as a program, we're very concerned with bringing the whole group along. Not just 5 guys or 10 guys, or hey, well, we got these 2 guys that are really good, we'll bring these guys along. Like, we want to bring the whole group along. We move faster and farther together. So having those guys getting out there to compete and seeing them compete, and seeing what we have, it's something for us to build off of from them too. I just told them, man, we got to have a high effort and energy though when we get a chance to compete. Some guys haven't competed for months and months and months, man. It needs to be absolute breakneck, balls to the wall, fight for everything the whole time. If you get beat, you get beat, but it's got to be that. And we got to have guys continue to compete like that. But certainly something for us to build off of. We got Oklahoma State coming to town. I mean, I'm certain that they remember coming here last year and us beating them, and great programs respond. They responded to the Big 12s last year, and I guarantee they're going to come up here ready to compete and try to put a knot on our head. And that's our job to try to do that back to them. So I don't have anything other than that. So I guess any questions that you guys have.
Hey, Coach, how did you convince Coach Smith to come up here, and then with them having to wrestle in 2 different places in one day?
Well, they wanted to do that. So I don't care, man. Just compete, wrestle. I don't know. They asked to do that because Oklahoma didn't want to do that. Because I said, and we'll let coaches. It's within the rules for them to be able to do that. So they're going to come here, and I think they wrestle us at 1, and maybe Iowa State at 6 or 7. So I know that's what they want to do, and it's good for our fans to have an opportunity to see them wrestle, and then it's good for them to go over to Ames, and the Iowa State fans to be able to see them too. I know we're able to have some fans. Hopefully, 1 o'clock on a Saturday. There's no football going on, and we'd love to have as many people that can get in here. And if you can't get in here, give your tickets away. Get someone else to be able to get in here and watch us, because we only have a couple opportunities to see us compete, and we're getting to see perennially one of the best teams in the country, and the top, right now the top team ranked in the Big 12. They bring a good team. So man, if we can't get people out to see that, then something's wrong. Then I guess we gotta have more guys compete like Runyon, and more guys compete like Parker and Teskey, and those guys, just from the entertainment factor. Who does it? And if you weren't excited about after watching a few of those matches, something's wrong with you, and then you don't like wrestling. I mean, you don't like wrestling, then you shouldn't watch wrestling. But if you weren't excited about how some of those guys competed, and then I think what that does, and I said it rubs off, but other guys are like, well, that guy, you just wrestled like that with that guy? Yeah, damn right I did. Because I trust and believe in myself in my preparation and training. And I'm as good in those positions as anybody. And I'm going to put myself in those positions. And I'm going to wrestle through them. And that's what he did. But it's a snowball, man. And that thing's starting to gain momentum. And you know what? We got to continue to gain momentum this week against Oklahoma State. So I don't know. That was his call. So I don't care where we wrestle. Let's just wrestle.
So Saturday is the midway point for the season.
Yeah.
Even though it feels like it just started, it did just start.
Yeah.
And then after this weekend, you've only got 2 more dates with 4 more duels.
Yeah.
How are you? What are you doing in the room that's different this year, evaluating guys? I mean, obviously they're accelerated, but how are you making the decisions behind the scenes about who goes, who doesn't? What goes into that?
You know, there's a lot of things that go into that. I mean, how a guy trains and prepares. You know, we're trying to get guys up against common opponents. You know, because sometimes a wrestle off with a guy and knowing your teammate well. Sometimes that's awkward. You know, we had a few of those matches out there, and there wasn't a whole lot of action for the most part. But you know, that can also be a good thing because your teammate knows what you do, but then you got to be able to do it so well that they still can't stop it, or then you add another wrinkle. You know, I'd prefer not to have wrestle-offs, but, you know, I think we're going to have some in some of these situations. You know, we kind of did some ladder matches as far as kind of getting guys into position to see who would be the next guy in and have that opportunity. You know, I don't particularly care to do it during the week because I want our week to be about training. You know, I mean, you're going a Thursday wrestle off, and then the guy's concerned with that instead of trying to get better at wrestling. And we got to continue to get better at wrestling, you know. So I'll continue to try to do those in the atmosphere like we had yesterday, you know. And we were able to do that, be a little bit tougher on Saturday because you only have one duel. But I'm going to continue to try to have wrestle offs out there and try to get us against common opponents. But also, the guy wrestles in a way that is incredibly dominating, and how can you not put some guys out there? I mean, you're crazy not to put a few of those guys how they're competing. Like you gotta stick with him. I talked to the team about Wally Pipp, and they were like, "Who the hell is that?" And I probably should have went more with Drew Bledsoe and Tom Brady because they probably would have remembered that one. But I know Nelson knows who Wally Pipp is. Freaking Stan Musial, right? He came in for him, and then he played like 2,000 straight games. I said, "Be that guy. Be that guy that just and we'd like to give you a chance, but I don't know how we can." So I'm really evading your question. I'm not answering anything I'm just talking a whole lot. You know, we're going to do some more wrestle offs and figure some things out from there. You know, some of the things I'd rather tell, obviously, you face to face with your team instead of, "Hey, coach, I saw this you were talking at a press conference." But you know, we're taking everything into account, though. It's not obviously how you compete against other competition. To me, is one of the biggest indicators, because competing against your teammate and knowing them well, that's one thing. But going out there in the lights and shining and competing at a high level and beating good guys, you know, that can be a whole nother. I don't know. It's certainly going to get figured out here, though, very soon, because they said we got a short time, and I'd rather not let it come down till that break in between the Big 12s and, you know, our last duel. But I don't know. That's something I'm evaluating and working through right now. So like I said, I keep talking, and maybe you'll forget what you asked me. But I have a plan in my head that's not for anyone else's. For anyone else to know right now.
Hey, Coach, we've seen most everybody in an extra match or a duel,
Yep.
but did I miss something with Austin Yan?
He is dinged up right now. Unfortunately, you know, I'd love to have the opportunity to have him out there too. You know, and here's the thing is he's talk about a tough, gritty kid. And, you know, sometimes maybe you feel like things kind of stack on you and something else happens. And, man, you got to still just stay focused and move forward and do what you can and to help yourself and help the team. Hopefully, you know, we'll see where he's at this week. If not this week, then next week. You know, Pat's doing a good job. I thought he competed well yesterday and really, like I said, helped turn things around, I think, for the team. And got to get guys healthy, and when you got a condensed season, man, that it's not ideal. But I don't know, we'll get that weight figured out. But he's just on the mend right now.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep. We good? I'll say Saturday, 1 o'clock. I know that Oklahoma State's bringing on, a handful of extra guys too, so we'll have 2 mats going like we did. And I know maybe that's not an ideal situation, but I don't know any other way to do it right now, because they especially with them going over to Iowa State, you can't do it after. I think some teams are doing it before, and hopefully this is kind of something that hopefully we continue to do. I know some people might not like it, but I like that they get to come they get to get a match, they get to be in the singlet, they get to have an hour weigh-in. I think those things they help replicate some of the things for athletes much better than an open tournament. So hopefully we continue to do that. But as many fans as we can get there. Like I said, we look forward to competing against Oklahoma State again. So appreciate it.